Welcome to the Team Molar Power Hour. I'm here with Coach Alan Molar.
What's up, guys?
My name is Joe Brunson. We'd like to talk with you a little bit today about the history of Team Molar, the history of Alan Molar, and some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and little tease on what's upcoming for the students at Molar Jiu-Jitsu. Coach, how are you today?
Man, I am doing terrific. Everything is going well.
Good, good. Why don't you tell us a little bit about kind of the history of Alan Molar and how you got started in Jiu-Jitsu?
Man, we're getting the backhoe out. We're digging deep today. Yeah, I got started in the art of Taekwondo first in my life. And funny story on that. Yeah, you guys are going to get a good laugh out of this one. So me and a friend of mine, we go, hey, let's do some martial arts. I've got some stress kicking. I hear martial arts is a great way to, get rid of that stress. So there's these things called the Yellow Pages. Most of you guys out there would never have heard of Yellow Pages. But it's this huge, thick book. And man, I flip it out and I'm looking for martial arts. And I'm looking for whoever has the highest degree black belt.
Yeah.
And it just so happened it was Taekwondo at the time. Now keep in mind, this was like 35 years ago.
Right.
Because I am one old dude. I just look young. So I found this 8th degree dude. We won't say his name.
Yeah.
But he's Taekwondo.
You'd probably make him famous if you said his name.
Well, it's possible. But, he had the look, he had all the stripes on his black belt. And so he was doing private lessons. And so I got my black belt in that pretty quick, by the way. From there, I moved on to another art called Kempo Karate.
Yeah.
K-E-M-P-O, not to be mistaken for K-E-M-P-O, K-E-N. And it was the Ed Parker system. So while I was doing that, I also started doing boxing, Muay Thai kickboxing, and this thing called Kali, Arnis, and Pakita Tertia.
Okay.
Those are weapon arts. Knife, double knife, single stick, double stick, stick and knife, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Well, so I started teaching the fighting class. I thought, man, this is so cool.
Right.
I get to take over and teach the fighting class for, his name was Sifu Fowler.
Okay.
So I'm teaching the class, and it's boxing, it's kickboxing, and there's no takedowns. Well, these guys come in and they're wrestlers. One's a state champion wrestler, which I didn't know what that was.
Right.
But champion sounded cool. I like champion. So we're sparring, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he takes me down.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get up, and I can't. And I have to tell him, dude, you can't do that. So I kick him, he catches the kick, takes me down, and I have to tell him once again, hey, guys, listen, I know I'm, built, I'm sexy, but you can't be grabbing me. No takedowns.
Yeah.
But it opened my eyes. I said, wow, dude, that just got real. I couldn't stop him from taking me down.
Right.
So, just so happened, a week later, we had this guy come in, Mr. Insanto, who is like a world-renowned, just badass dude. And I asked him, I said, what am I going to do? I got these guys coming in, and they're grabbing me up and taking me down.
Mm-hmm.
It's called wrestling.
Right.
And I can't stop it. What recommendations do you have? And he said, well, it's funny you asked that. I just started training one-on-one privates with these guys called the Gracies. And they're from Brazil.
Yeah.
And they call their art Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, but how's that going to help me with these guys? He said, trust me. He said, let me talk to them. I'm not sure they'll take you on, but maybe they will. And that's how I got started almost 26 years ago.
Wow.
In the art of Jiu-Jitsu. And it all came from Danny and Santo hooking me up with these guys called the Gracies. And there was out of Torrance, California at the time. I walked in there, and keep in mind, man, I got some fast hands.
Right.
Well, back then I did.
Yeah.
And they laced up some 12-ounce boxing gloves, which I'm used to that because of sparring and boxing. And man, I know I'm going to light this guy up. And sure enough, man, I hit him with a nice jab. And when I do, all of a sudden I'm on the ground and I'm moving to get up, and that's all I could remember at the time because I had been put to sleep.
Yeah.
And As I'm waking up, I got Jorge and Gracie looking over at me with this huge smile, and he has a huge video camera, you know, those old VHS ones.
Right.
And he's like, "Oh, my friend, you gotta tap out." I'm like, "What's a tap out?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Well, you know, you take your hand and you tap on my brother. That way you don't fall asleep. But here, let me help you up. I'll give you another try.
Yeah.
You know, see if you can knock my brother out." And so this time I'm thinking, well, you know, I'm going to be smarter. I want to move in. I want to move out.
Yeah.
I'm moving to my left, move to my right. When he's least expecting it, man, I'm going to hit him with a nice uppercut when he shoots on me. Well, let's just say it didn't go my way again, or again, or again. But what did happen is I came hooked. I became immersed in the world of jiu-jitsu. And from that day on, it's been my best friend. Not only on the mat, but in life. It's helped me in so many ways with developing my personality of who I am. Now you might go, well, what does he mean? Where's he going with that? Well, I used to have this really, really hot temper. Problem is in the art of jiu-jitsu, you get mad, and the more mad you get, the more submissions you get put on you.
Now wait a minute, Coach. You tell me to get mad when we're rolling, though.
Yeah, I need you to throw me around like a rag doll. I need you to become super angry and turn into the Hulk.
Yeah.
Because then you make mistakes.
Yeah, it never works out for me.
Well, no, but it works out for me. You know, we're in this world, it's all about me, me.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, it helped me get rid of my temper because I realized when you get angry, you make mistakes. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's my history of how I got into the art of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, so you started a school up here. You started your first one in Irving?
Yeah, my very first one, I started teaching out of Rick Fowler's Kempo Karate School. I did that for about a year. I was teaching in the mornings. And quickly I realized, wow, you know, I might be able to just, you know, open up my own school and do my own thing.
Yeah.
So maybe over a year later, I opened up a very small. When I say very small, it was a funky shape because I got the rent real cheap. And in the beginning, I wasn't doing it to make money because at the time I had pawn shops.
Yeah.
So at the time I was doing it just for the love of the sport. So I started teaching jiu-jitsu, and maybe within about a year and a half, this thing came out called the UFC.
Yeah.
And no longer did I have to tell people what jiu-jitsu was. People knew.
They got to watch it. Yeah.
And maybe 6-8 months after the first UFC, I had to put people on a waiting list because my gym was very small.
Yeah.
And people would be very disappointed because they had to wait to join because there was no other schools. And then shortly after that, this really incredible instructor moved to Dallas, started training with Chuck Norris, and his name was Carlos Machado. And he was teaching at a Walker, Texas Rangers production studio.
Cool.
So I would go in there and I would do one-on-ones with this guy named Professor Carlos Machado, who was just really gifted as a coach. And that's where I got my start in Dallas. But I started off with the Gracies and then their cousins, the Machados.
Wow.
So yeah, there's quite a history there.
There's a huge history there. So I'm sure everybody listening and watching knows those names and knows about that. Then you kind of branded off on your own brand, really, of jiu-jitsu under Team Molar, using some of those things that you taught. And of course, I've been training with you for 10 years, and a lot of these guys that are watching right now, guys and gals, have been training with you for a long time. What would you really say? For me, the love of it is the physical chess, the physical problem solving that you go through when you're in it. But when you're grappling, it doesn't really matter where you come from. It doesn't really matter what you did that day. It only matters what's happening on the mat, and I think that's something that you really teach us. And did you learn that innately? Did you learn that from Carlos Machado? How did you learn that, and how do you take that, what you learned, and give it to us every day?
You know, we all have our inner superhero powers. For me, I quickly realized I had this gift of teaching.
Yeah.
this love of giving, of what I think is beautiful. And we all see beauty in different ways. And I see Jiu-Jitsu is the art of life. There's art you buy to hang on a wall. There's art you buy in sculptures to sit in your room. But Jiu-Jitsu gives you life, so it's the art of life. I quickly realized that even though I wasn't a world champion competitor, I could put out people that was very talented and that could win at huge tournaments. And more importantly, I could help them and mentor them through different issues and problems they're going through in their life. And everyone gets out of Jiu-Jitsu what they need. Like my need might be different than your need, or her need might be different from this guy's need. But Jiu-Jitsu gives you what you need to feed to make you healthier and happier. We're all after the same thing in life, and that's to be more fit, better looking, healthier.
Yeah.
And health just it's not just internal, because Jiu-Jitsu gives you that, but it's more mental.
Yeah.
Because everything about life is mental. It's how you perceive it. It's how you taste it. It's how you feel it. And Jiu-Jitsu is just beautiful.
So we're only about 2 miles away from the Deep Ellum School in Deep Ellum. We also have another school, a brand new one out in Grapevine. So now we have 2 different places. And tell us a little bit about Grapevine, and that's kind of the newest addition to the Team Molar family, and what we have to offer out there.
Yeah, so you brought up the Grapevine facility. Almost 26 years ago when I first started.
Yeah.
As I said, I started off in this funky shape. I mean, it's like 1,400 square feet. You took 3 steps and you was off the mat. And I sat there and I look at Grapevine, and in my wildest imagination, I couldn't even have dreamed something so beautiful to give to the students. And it's not just me. Yeah, I mean, I get to taste it, breathe it, feel it, but it's the gift of life that you give to the young kids that makes them into a beautiful, strong man, or a beautiful, strong woman, or adults, giving them more discipline. But they get to train in this huge facility. It's like 13, 14,000 square feet. And it's got this industrial vibe, feel. It's brightly lit, both with natural light as well as LED light. The mat's got this subfloor under, and I mean, the mat just feels like you want to be on it. And the music, the way the vibe of the feel of the bass, because it's got like, I don't know, gazillion speakers. Yeah. It's like you're in a studio. And so you become even more immersed into the feel and vibe of the Jiu-Jitsu game. The Grapevine location has this incredible upstairs loft area for the parents to get a bird's eye view. I mean, they're looking down at this huge 5,000 square foot mat, and maybe the kids class has like 40 kids in it. The next class comes up, it's got maybe 75 adults in it. And what people forget is I haven't been doing this since like 2 months ago. I've been teaching 25 and a half years. So it's not like it was an overnight success.
Right.
I've been around the game for so long, most of the time way longer than most people of their age.
Sure.
I might have a 23, 24-year-old guy coming in. Well, I've been teaching the art of Jiu-Jitsu for longer than he's been alive.
Right.
And I don't think a lot of people know that.
Yeah, they probably don't. Everybody's got their own initial story of how they fell in love with Jiu-Jitsu, and we heard your story, and I know there's people watching that train with you right now. They're your students, but there's probably people that are curious watching. They see a new school go up. We're pretty new to Dallas, really just a few years down here. So there's a lot of people that watch the UFC, They see what you do. We do Muay Thai, we do boxing. In Dallas, we have the Recovery Center. But there's probably people real curious about Jiu-Jitsu, and I think you hit it on the head when you talked about a different way to exercise, a different way to strengthen the mind. But for you, and if you're talking to new people that are curious or interested, is this for me? Is this not for me? What would you say to those folks?
Yeah, I think you got to give yourself a chance. Life is, this is so redundant, but we're not really around that long. You can't escape death. So you got to enjoy every second, every moment, every minute, every year of your life. And what I mean by that is you might say, hey, Molar, why don't you taste this? It's incredible. And I go, nah, it looks nasty. I don't want none of that. But then you're on, and finally I go, oh my God, well, if I taste it, will you shut up? And so I taste it and I go, oh my God, dude, look at that butterfly over there. And now I've got me a new dish I just love.
Yeah.
But you don't know that unless you try it. It's like everything in life. You got to take the risk. There's a good friend of mine that taught me that. I learned that probably a lot later in life than I should have. But really, life is all about taking that chance, because it might be something that the reward is huge. And so that's what it does for me.
Yeah, so everyone has a different reason, I think, when they start training with Coach Molar. I think some people want to compete, some people want an interesting way to exercise and stay in better shape, like we talked about. Some, for me, when I started, it was something to get rid of some stress that I had, an ongoing way to do that. And I think that was a gift that you gave everybody for us.
Yeah, it's funny. That's how I got involved in martial arts, not jiu-jitsu. But martial arts, it was for stress. Because at the time, I owned 3 pawn shops. I was working 6-7 days a week, so the stress was real. And I started getting these things called stomach ulcers.
Yeah.
And so my doctor at the time said, you should get involved in martial arts. And I said, but I'm lifting. No, martial arts. So it's funny that you got into martial arts for the same reason I did.
Yeah.
And that was for a huge stress relief. I can go in there in the afternoon, have a horrible morning, things just didn't go my way, and that's the way life is. You don't cry about it, you deal with it, you keep going, and all of a sudden, sunshine. But that's what it's about.
So we have a lot of cool things kind of coming up. I know right now we're getting ready for a tournament coming up. There's probably people that are interested in that and how we do, and did okay on the last one, I think. Did pretty good.
Yeah, the last one we did, we did Naga Worlds in December, and we had a lot to be thankful for. Every trophy that they was handing out that day, and this is not being very humble, and I'm not proud of this, but I am proud.
We should be proud.
It's kind of an awkward thing, but I'm always working on being more humble, but it doesn't mean I'm not proud. But we took every trophy they had to offer that day. And then we did this super fight thing with Fight to Win and Kasai. It's a really hot coming super fight tournament. And when I say super fights, I mean super jiu-jitsu matches. And I mean, they're not just anyone out there on those mats competing. They're the stars of the world at the moment going out there. And it's people that you idolize and you're going, oh my God, they're right here in Dallas, Texas. And Cameron Couch, one of our real shy black belts, who's just a phenom on the mat with his wrestling and his black belt in jiu-jitsu. Well, he was going against a guy that has won it all. He's won worlds, he's won pans, he's won everything. Anything you can think of, this kid has won it. And Cameron faced him, and it was funny because his walkout music that he happened to choose that night got the vibe started off beautiful. And he's normally, like I said, very shy.
Yeah.
Well, he walked out there, and he was very nervous before the match. But when he hit the mat and he jogged over to his corner, he pointed at the guy with this huge smile. And I knew when he did that, you just know, Yeah, we're going to win.
It's going to be a good night, yeah.
And so he won his super fight, which made a huge statement for us. And then from there, we did this really new tournament in Texas, but it comes from California, which is the Jiu-Jitsu Mecca for the United States. And it's the hottest Jiu-Jitsu tournament in Cali. Well, now it's going viral here in Dallas. And so Jiu-Jitsu World League, which is very well organized. And they treat the coaches well. And if they tell you you're starting at 12, you're starting at 12. So it's just a really, really organized tournament. Well, we won, I think it was 6 or 7 trophies that day. And so now we're preparing for the Dallas Open. So that you got your huge teams. Now, for those out there that don't know what I'm saying, is like there's a team called Soul Fighters, and there's a team called Gracie Baja. There's teams called Lead Jiu-Jitsu. And what it is they got all these schools under them that come together under one umbrella, like Alliance. Like, I'm a black belt under Alliance. And then they compete against each other. So, it's very tough to get up on that podium unless you're bringing 100 to 130 students that are good. If you can't bring that to the table, you ain't going to step on that podium.
Right.
So that's coming up. And I'm really hoping that we'll get on that podium. We'll have to see. It's just difficult because it's a numbers game.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's not only numbers. I mean, you gotta have some really talented students as well. But that's coming up, and that's May 4th and 5th. So the 4th is gi, the 5th is no gi. And then we got the Jiu-Jitsu World League coming up May 25th that we're going to send our kids team to see if we can do a repeat and again take that first place team trophy for the youth.
Awesome. So we have a lot of fun stuff coming up, a lot of good things.
We have some really tasty, cool things coming up. And make no mistake, we're grinding right now with students that want to compete. And you don't have to compete. I mean, that's nothing that you have to do. It has to be something that you want to do.
Sure.
Again, we all get out of jiu-jitsu what we need and what we want. So we're going to bring a big team to those, and we'll have fun. We'll celebrate afterwards, and we have a lot of cool, tasty stuff coming up on the menu.
Should be a good summer for Molar Jiu-Jitsu, Team Molar. Should be real good. We got to do this probably a couple more times, once a month. We'll be reviewing some fights, talking about upcoming jiu-jitsu competitions, and we'll have a good time in here, I think. Yeah,
it's funny. I think, I get forgetful. I think this is the very first podcast I've ever been on, and I really kind of think
you seem nervous.
Yeah, you make me nervous. It's tough being around such a super, talented, manly man, sexy dude like you. That's what's really making me nervous.
Yeah, I figured it was me.
It's not really the cameras. But no, this is our very first podcast.
Yeah, first one.
So I would say his name, but he's a shy guy, and I don't want to see him start stuttering and all that. But yeah, it's our very first podcast. He's more behind the scenes, Team Molar, as I'm more up front, Team Molar. So this is our first Team Molar podcast.
Yeah, it'll be cool. I think we plan on watching some fights in here and letting Coach Molar demonstrate how a victory is won or how maybe a loss could have been avoided. If they would have done some things.
We can break down some
so that'll be super exciting.
Jiu-Jitsu and MMA fights. Yeah, we can break them down to exactly what went wrong or what went right and what should have been done or what could have been done and how the different strategies matched up.
Right.
Yeah, that would be exciting.
Yeah, I think we're going to have fun doing that. And of course, as always, check out our website, MolarMMA.com, and like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're going to have a lot of great content coming at you. We appreciate you watching and listening. Thank you very much. Team Molar Power Hour.